At 72 years old, my life had found a peaceful rhythm in a quiet suburb just outside Portland. For decades, I had operated a small hardware store, a modest but reliable source of income that allowed me to raise my family and eventually retire comfortably. When I sold the store, the proceeds were wisely invested, leaving me with a nest egg that ensured I could live independently without being a burden to anyone. My health, though beginning to show the natural signs of aging, remained good, and I was fully capable of managing daily tasks on my own. My 3 adult children, 2 sons and a daughter, had their own lives to live, though we stayed connected with regular visits. These visits were always pleasant, filled with updates about their work, the grandkids, and life in general, which led me to believe that our family bond was strong and genuine. One evening, I invited the family over for a small gathering, as we had done many times before. We shared a hearty dinner and enjoyed light-hearted conversation, basking in the warmth of our connection. Afterward, feeling a bit stiff, I decided to step outside for a walk around the neighborhood, a regular habit of mine to clear my mind and ease my joints. When I returned, however, I noticed something unsettling. The atmosphere in the kitchen was different. Everyone was gathered, speaking in hushed voices, and I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. What I heard froze me in place. My eldest son was suggesting that it would be easier for the family if I moved into an assisted living facility sooner rather than later, a move he insisted would simplify things. My daughter quickly agreed, coldly mentioning how important it was to secure the inheritance promptly. To my horror, my younger brother chimed in, hinting that I might soon become a burden and that they should settle the finances without delay. The realization hit me like a sharp blow. My own flesh and blood, the people I had supported through thick and thin, were plotting to place me in a nursing home prematurely for their own financial gain. They saw me not as a parent or relative, but as an obstacle between them and my savings. The betrayal stung deeply, especially as I reflected on the many times I had helped each of them, helping with down payments for homes, paying for college tuition, and covering personal loans. I had given everything I could to help them build their lives, yet here they were conspiring against me. That night, I couldn't sleep. The cruel words of my family replayed in my mind over and over again. They weren't concerned about my well-being. They were only interested in my money. But by morning, the sadness gave way to a quiet determination. I had to act swiftly to protect myself, my independence, and my assets. I called my trusted attorney, Richard, who had been a friend and advisor for years. I explained everything, and he suggested we immediately revise my will, create a detailed living trust, and assign a neutral third party as power of attorney. This would ensure that my healthcare and financial decisions remained entirely in my control. We made it clear in the trust that I would only move to assisted living if a licensed medical professional deemed it necessary, preventing anyone from forcing the decision for their own benefit. With Richard's guidance, I discreetly updated the legal documents, ensuring that my estate was fully protected. In the days leading up to our appointment, my family acted as though nothing had happened, calling me frequently and feigning concern for my well-being. My eldest son even visited multiple times, bringing gifts and pretending to care. My daughter became overly attentive, delivering groceries and fussing over my diet. My brother invited me out for lunch, all the while subtly trying to gauge whether I was willing to consider assisted living. I played along, carefully observing their actions while firming up my resolve. Finally, the day came when I needed to confront them. I gathered the family at my home and calmly explained that recent events had prompted me to make some important changes to my healthcare and financial plans. I told them about the updated will and living trust, emphasizing that I was fully capable of living independently and would continue to do so unless a medical professional determined otherwise. I watched their faces closely as I spoke, noting the sudden shift in their expressions. Tension thickened the air as my eldest son aggressively questioned the changes, while my daughter and brother exchanged uneasy glances. I chose to be transparent, revealing what I had overheard during that fateful family gathering. Silence fell over the room as the weight of the truth sank in. My children and brother quickly attempted to deny their intentions, but their discomfort was undeniable. I made it clear that my trust in them had been shattered, and the changes I had made were in response to their lack of genuine concern for my well-being. The reactions were immediate and intense. Disappointment, anger, and resentment were palpable. They were particularly distressed when they learned that much of my estate was now earmarked for charities and a distant relative who had always shown me genuine care, rather than for them. In the days that followed, my children and brother tried repeatedly to repair the damage they had done. They called, sent gifts, and arranged casual gatherings, all in an attempt to reverse my decisions. Their apologies felt hollow, as if motivated by their desire for financial gain rather than true remorse. My daughter eventually admitted that financial struggles had clouded her judgment, and she had viewed my estate as a safety net for her debts. While I sympathized with her situation, I firmly reminded her that my savings were not meant to solve her problems. My brother, on the other hand, tried to appeal to family loyalty, arguing that blood relations deserved more consideration than charities. Yet his words only served to underscore their true motives, greed and entitlement. With my attorney's help, I ensured that my new legal arrangements were solid and could not be easily overturned. My autonomy was fully protected, and I found a sense of peace knowing that my future choices were now clearly documented and enforceable. Although family interactions remained strained, there was a shift. My children and brother slowly stopped pressing their financial agenda, and instead, we began to reconnect on a more authentic level. The tension eventually gave way to a more genuine relationship. Though whether this change was due to true understanding or mere resignation, I couldn't say. Looking back, this painful experience taught me invaluable lessons about trust, family dynamics, and the importance of clear legal protections. I had underestimated my family's capacity for greed, assuming that unconditional love and respect were a given. The harsh reality forced me to confront uncomfortable truths, but it ultimately empowered me to secure my independence and dignity. By setting firm boundaries, I was able to distinguish between genuine care and selfish manipulation. I had taken control of my life and my estate, refusing to be a passive victim of familial greed. Though the emotional scars linger, I take comfort in knowing that my autonomy is safeguarded. My home is still mine, and my future is in my hands. Family interactions, though cautious, are slowly rebuilding on a foundation of mutual respect rather than financial expectations. I now understand that securing one's independence is not just a practical necessity. It's essential, especially when those closest to you may not have your best interests at heart. Forgiveness may come eventually, but for now, I remain vigilant, knowing that trust must be earned, not assumed.